Okay, folks, doing another video today. I've had a request to kind of go over some of the basics on the Cell Hasher new software, and I'm on version 0.5.5, and I just confirmed on the Cell Hasher GitHub that that is the latest one. So one of the early things that you're going to do when you first start using the software is you need to go into your settings down here, and I'm using this panel here on the left side. So settings, and then you'll start downloading the different software, or the different, yeah, I call it software, different paths that will take you to the items that you need in order to run this properly. One of the big ones is, of course, the ADB. And so you would download this, and it gives you, like in gray, I did not download this Heimdall um, file. So this will kind of show you the what I would call the common paths that most people would download, or where would they put them on their computer. So you would download the ADB. I think it goes into your download folder of your computer, and then you would just go and place it where you can kind of place it wherever you want. But the key is you want to be able to find where you put it. So um, I in particular put it in my just off of the C drive, so it's pretty easy to find. So I've got it under Platform Tools and then ADB, and then eventually you would go Verify Path, and then the Cell Hasher software looks and says, oh yeah, where you told me it actually is. So you would go through all these different um, different paths that you need to work on. Scrappy, I call it Scrappy, which is is the file that helps mirror your phones. And then of course, if you need to use Python, you can do it in Python also. And again, the big thing is just remember where you put each one of these files, and then you would verify each of those locations via the Cell Hasher software, and then it would find it. If you're moving, I struggled with this. If you're moving from one Cell Hasher computer to the other, to be honest, I had a lot of issues with this, but eventually I got it figured out. There's an ADB key sets that you would export from your old computer. You would import it here, and then right now I have the old ones are active on my computer. And like I said, eventually it I figured it out. I can't tell you how easy or how hard that is. I struggled with it, but some of the things you would be exporting from your old computer are like your custom tags, device tags, all that kind of stuff. So I'd love to give you some real easy pointers on that, but to be honest, it wasn't my cup of tea for that. So back to where you're going to spend most of your time. Obviously, I only have 4 devices selected here because I have 40 phones. I have 2 cell hashers, 40 full, 2 full cell hashers that are connected to this PC right now. And then you can create different groups, and you can see I've got a list of different groups. And I specifically went and made a small group of just 4 HMD vibes to do this YouTube video. So there's the 4 selected, and then off here to the left, you can go through. You want to have the bright blue boxes. That means they're selected, and then you could go through and you could set up your network, and you can actually, in your network, you can connect all of them at once. You can deselect all or select all. That's pretty self-explanatory. The battery one, this is where you could go in, and if you wanted to put a certain, I haven't messed with this a lot. I use just kind of the manual one, and I'll just set it to, I like to put like 69 for my battery level, and then 30 degrees for my battery temperatures. So you can mess around in there. That's pretty self-explanatory. I'll come back to the mirror section in a little bit, but this is where you'll spend the bulk of your time. And then I haven't really messed with the automation yet. I think this is like if you're setting up a phone, this is my understanding, if you're setting up a phone and you have an app that you need to click on it to interact with it for it to do what it needs to do for that day or whatever, you can actually set this up, and you would like you would actually push on the coordinates for the specific app, and it's pretty cool. I just don't have that need right now, but you can set that up. The miner, um, again, I do mine differently, so I don't really worry about this. But I'm assuming in here I could set up, like, these are probably pre-compiled cell hasher miner scripts that they have set up. I could probably add mine here. I haven't in particular because I've got my own system. And then obviously there's something here with Bitcoin, but I'm not sure what that is. I've seen people talk about flight sheets, and honestly, I have no clue. Haven't worried about it. So really, the other two locations that I spend most of my time with right now, especially during setups, is this package manager and this script. The script is where you could, if you created your own script, which I have, and I'll show you, I have a couple videos that talk about where to go to my GitHub and go through that. If I wanted to do it straight in the Cell Hasher software, I'm assuming this is where I'd probably be looking. I'd be adding commands here and going through it. Or if I created my scripts, I would be able to throw them in here too. But really what you're probably looking at is the Cell Hasher team has a pre-compiled list of scripts that they've created, and some of them work pretty good and some of them kind of get buggy, and so it's partly why I created the scripts that I did for my GitHub. I just found like I was just struggling with them to work properly for some reason. So if you're looking at the CC miner, the CPU miner dash OPT, or the XMR or XM rig mining software on my GitHub, the big thing you need first is you need to install Termex. And basically you would just come down here, you'd click on it, you would select the different phones that you want to select it, and then you would just run the devices here. And then it would run the script, and it'd be down here, and it would tell you that it ran it properly or not. If that doesn't work, you need to find a way to get Termex, because everything I do right now is in Termex. So for me to install the if you're looking at like Accuras, or if you're looking at a new project called Unity, or if they come out with updates, if these updates don't work in the Cell Hasher pre-compiled scripts, you go to your package manager, you download from like Accuras, GitHub, latest releases, that's where you would find it. You would just download that to your computer's download folder. Then you would take your bulk action. You want to install, this kind of reminds me of the old Cell Hasher software, so shouldn't be too confusing for a lot of people. But you would install the APK, that's the software you're going to look for, or the type of file you're going to look for. And I have it already downloaded, so I would just grab, this is Accuras 1.22.1, which is the latest one, and that's a light version. And I would just open that, and then I would go over here to the left, and I would pick which phones I wanted to add it to, and then you would come down here. It would, I think, I'll just pick one. And I'm going to go execute, and then it says, okay, this is what you're going to download it to. It's the 515, and I would hit install APK. And when you do that, down here in the bottom, it's going to start doing the script. It's going to show you, and then it's going to come up with a line, and it would go through, and then down here at the bottom it would tell you that it successfully or did not successfully install what you just asked it to do. So that's the package manager. Now back to the mirror section. So with mirror, so I've got 4 phones selected, and I'm going to hit. I've sort of messed with this, and I can't say with certainty if this really changes much. And sometimes this, and I can already tell. See, it read. It did not open up any of them, so I know pretty quickly that it's just not going to open. So you just go ahead and stop it. I usually wait till that green goes away, try it again, and so now all 4 of them came up. I got lucky. Trial and error, just keep trying it. Typically, I can eventually run 20 phones or even 40 phones, but it might take me 20 tries to get them all to come up. I have a my computer has a 3050 GPU. It's not, anything fancy. My previous PC didn't have a GPU. This seems to work a little bit better, but it isn't perfect. So again, if it doesn't work the first few times, just keep on trying, or try and select less phones. But the cool thing that they've added, I mean, it's a time saver like crazy, is this group button right here. So when that is orangish or brownish, that means I am controlling all of these at once. So I'm going to click on this one and see how it lights up blue. So this is my phone that I'm going to control, and I can control it right here, or I can actually enlarge this, and let me say I'm going to bring up Unity. Okay, so now if I go up here, I'm not going to close it, I just want to, it's like it's a minimize. I was going to say go back screen. So see, even though I had this one expanded or opened up big, it actually ended up controlling all of them at the same time. That is so cool. I just love this feature. The key being, though, on this feature is your phones have to be exactly the same. So you need to have your apps in the exact same location on each one of the phones if you really want to control them all at the same time. And I can. And see, I switched over to this one pretty easy, and I clicked on the Termex, and it brought up all of them all at the same time. Now this doesn't really matter because this has a keyboard up. This doesn't. Not a big deal. Okay, and let's go back to Accuras. Okay, I mean it is pretty sweet. It gets a little funky if I'm going to go into settings. So it kind of depends on, see now, these phones aren't exactly in the same spot either right now. So if I wanted to make them, I would go back to okay, so that one's in settings. And again, all I did was click off the group button, and now I am controlling each one of them individually. Okay, now I'm going to go back to group on. Okay, and now watch. See, they're all the same. So, like, for example, let's say I wanted to click on the display. I wanted to change the display on the phones. Okay, and I wanted to turn on or turn off the dark theme. So I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to turn it back on. Okay, these are a little bit different color because I think I have the themes just different on these phones. But and by the way, I am remote access to the computer, so I'm using Rest Desk to go to the different computer, and then I'm also remoting to the phones themselves. So yours might be a little bit quicker, but you just got to have a little bit of patience with this. So I'm going to turn it back on to Accuras, and there you go. There's the group on or group off feature. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Let's do. Actually, oh, I turned the group off. Sorry. All right. Let's go to Termux. All right, and I'm going to stop all the miners. And then, actually, just to make it big, let's go here. So I'm at the command line. So this is a lot like, I think a lot of other, like you can use sudo in Termux, you can use git. I think this is bash commands. I always get it confused if it's bash or Python, but and again, I'm kind of new to all this, but I've got some preloaded stuff, so basically just gonna look at the directory and see what's here. So the purple for me are the software that is actually the mining software, and then in the green is the install files that I used in order to install the different mining software. So you can do it one of two ways. You can go cd cc miner, and that's going to put me in the cc miner directory. You can see that. And then let's see what's in that directory. It's got a whole list of files in there, but the one I'm looking for with the setup is the start sh. Okay, now let's say I wanted to change. I set up my miner to work on certain pools, but then later on down the road I decided like I didn't like whatever that pool are, where it just wasn't connecting, or you wanted to change to, like, say Viper has different stratums in different locations inside North America. So I want to change which pool I'm going to go to. So I know this how to get to it, and it would just be nano config.json. So now I'm in basically the pool setup, or the mining directory, I guess it's the config file on how you tell where the software to mine from, or to mine to different parts. Some of this doesn't make sense, so bear with me, guys. So first one is I would go to the URL, which is the stratum setup, and I'm using Bob Farm is my primary pool. But if I want to change this to Viper, I would just find out what the stratum port is that I need to hook up to for Viper, and I would just do that here. And then this is also where you could come down and you would be able to figure out my user. That would be my my address, my wallet address, my public wallet address, and then dot, and then you can put your worker name right there. The algorithm is Varus, so the algo is Varus. I'm going to use 8 threads from the phone, which most of the ones I have I use 8. There's a couple of my joys that I can't, I don't know, there's some power quirks, so I'm using only like 6 threads on one and 5 on the other. And then I can't remember what the CPU priority is, but then the retry pause is, let's say this, for some reason I disconnect from my primary, then it's going to say, hey, pause for 15 seconds and then go to your secondary. So I would just make all the changes in there, and if you're not familiar, you would you would do Control O, Enter, and then Control X, and that basically saves your work and then exits the nano file. So, and again, this is where you have to hit the control on here, not the control on your keyboard, and then I'm just going to exit because I'm not going to save it. Alright, now I'm back to here, and in particular, I know that in order to start my mining software, it's just //start.sh, and there my software would start mining again. Now, the shortcut, if you're not familiar, let's say I'm at the main directory or my basic directory. So I know the name of the software I'm going to do, so it's the squiggly line /ccminer/start.sh, and that should restart the mining software, which it does. If you want to go into the directory like I did first, you can do it that way, or you can just do the simple way right there. So that's some basics on Cell Hasher and the software. Again, if you got any questions, just post them on my YouTube video, and I'll see what I can do for helping you out. Thanks again.